Welcome to ACS Leadership Team Podcast. Faith, character, heart, service. Arcadia Christian School. Academic excellence consistent with a biblical worldview.
But today, we're going to talk about what customers want, why they want it, and how to respond to what a customer wants. Because you believe, at the end of the day, this really is what drives the service industry. And you have somewhat of a formula, and I would love for you to just begin talking about that whole process as you think about satisfying customers and customer satisfaction.
Well, all thinking of the organization should be geared towards what the market wants. If I'm delivering to the market a product which is to the market more sufficient, and if I'm at the same time am more efficient, with other words, I deliver that product and cost me less, but it satisfies the guest more, then obviously I have a great company.
Right.
So, and really, the company, in my opinion, a great company does four things. Number one, and it cannot be encroached on by 2, 3, and 4. Number one is keeping the customer. Let's face it, if you have loyal customers, you have a great organization. Now, we have to understand here that there are 3 types of customers. They're the ones that are dissatisfied, which essentially are terrorists against your company. They don't like you. They look forward to talk bad about you.
Right.
They're negative. They're destructive. They're dangerous. So on a scale of 1 to 10 in service, that's what it is. And 1 to 3 are dangerous. But 3 to 8 are satisfied. And if your competition offers a little teddy bear free, that's where they're going to go. They're not your customers. They're satisfied. And then they're the loyal customers. They're yours. In fact, they're willing to pay more for your product, the same product. They're your customers. So number one, you keep the customer. Number 2, you get new ones, obviously, hopefully through the old customers, through the loyal customers. Number 3, what you do as an organization, get as much money as you can. That's the business you're in. Otherwise, you won't be in business. Your employees won't have a job. Number 4, what you do is be efficient. And that's really what you do. So how do you keep this customer? By giving the customer more sufficiently what they want. Now, what do they want? This comes all together. If that is true, and we have to admit that must be true, then I have to know what the customer wants. So what do they want? Well, here's the fascinating thing. They all want the same thing. We don't have to study that.
Every customer wants the same thing.
That's right.
In every industry,
In every industry, for every product, for everything. If you buy a house or a bottle of water and so on, you have the same subconscious expectation.
Every customer wants the same thing.
That's right.
And you're about to tell us what those are.
That's right.
So how valuable is this information you're about to give us? I would say very valuable.
Well, very
valuable. Okay.
Extremely valuable. And I spend a lot of money getting it.
And I know that people pay you a lot of money for this information, so
That's
thank
right.
you for sharing it with us.
That's
So
right.
what is it that ultimately that every customer wants?
Now, here it is. Now hold on and let it sink in and not dismiss it.
Okay.
The thing is, I'm going to give you facts, so if somebody doesn't agree, it means they're wrong.
Okay.
It's really that simple. Every customer, the individual, whoever that is, let's say you buy a bottle of water or a house or a car or whatever it is, or a hotel stay, you want really subconsciously have 3 expectations. The expectation is, number 1, that the product is defect-free. So if this bottles of water that you sell, you want to make sure it doesn't leak, it is filled all the way, that it's closed properly, etc. You have to create processes so it's defect-free. Number 2, what you want is timeliness. When you buy the bottle of water, you expect it to be defect-free. You want it to have it in time. Waiting it's very destructive if people have to wait. So you want it when you want it. And number 3, what you want is that the people who give it to you, that they're nice to you. And let's call that service for a moment. So, and here is the interesting thing. Those 3 things I can create processes around so that it happens. And we talked about the process of nice people, the right employee. We talked about last time.
Right, last month.
Now, if caring is that important, and we have to understand clearly that caring piece, that nice piece, drives customer satisfaction, eventually loyalty more than anything else.
So say that again. So the interaction with the person selling the product or the person that represents the company is the most important.
Absolutely.
Is the most important thing in terms of driving not just customer satisfaction but customer loyalty.
Eventually loyalty.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. If you can at the same time, because besides those three elements which everybody have, you have your idiosyncrasies.
Among customers.
You want a bottle of water that is this large or whatever. So you have to have systems to react to the idiosyncrasies, to the individualization and personalization of the product. And by the way, more and more people say, do it my way. Mm-hmm. It is not anymore a standardization. They said, do it my way. And when we talk about the millennials today, they are very, very strong in saying, do it my way. So you have to be able to react to the individual too. If you have that, if you do that, now you're satisfying that customer. If you can individualize and personalize, then it moves faster from satisfaction to loyalty.
And this is something the Ritz-Carlton company was excellent at. By the time you got there, you felt like they knew you. There was so much data, especially if you were a return customer.
Sure.
And this was your idea. And I would guess is what really moved people from simply being satisfied to loyal. I want to go back there. Yeah. I feel as if they know me. They don't know too much about me. That can get creepy, but they knew enough about me it became somewhat of a personalized experience.
Yeah, but this caring piece, by the way, is look, we talk about that minutes. I can teach that for hours. For example, how do they know we care? Well, to being as we all know, to be ignored is the greatest sin that you can do to people. That hurts more than scolding somebody, ignoring them. So the decision by the customer about you is made the instant the customer feel that they made contact with you.
I said that again. That's powerful. The
decision about your company and you and your employees, by the way, is made the instant the customer feel that they made contact with you. With other words, when they see your building, for example, your entrance, it has a powerful impact on it. But the most powerful impact is the first instant they make contact with your human being of your organization. By the way, that happens to be between 12 and 9 feet.
Wow. So say that again. So say it one more time. And this is, so you're talking about actual physical proximity and timeliness. Now, we're talking about the first 10 to 15 seconds.
I said instant.
Yeah. The first instant, 9 to 12 feet.
9 to 12 feet. So in other words, we teach our employees, no matter what you're doing, if the guest comes between 9 and 12 feet of you, you look up and you say, welcome. Even if you're on a phone, wave to them. Do not ignore them, whatever you do.
Now, how did you come up with this? Was this from your experience?
No, surveys.
Surveys.
Yeah. Through
surveying, you discovered there's this proximity piece,
That's
9 to 12 feet, demands a response. Otherwise, it feels like they're being ignored. And the worst thing that can happen is for a customer to potentially be ignored.
We are again speaking here about subconscious feeling, which is more powerful than the conscious.
Right.
So now they have made contact, now they made a decision about you. We talk always, and society lies at people all the time. Oh, you have to wait and look. Wait a minute. I can't look skin deep in the person because I only pass them for a second and I make a decision. I can't help I made a decision. I can change later that decision by relationship. But the decision is made subconscious. You are caring or not. You're paying attention. You think that I, the customer, am important or not. So you have to tell them you're important customer.
The first instant, 9 to 12 feet. That's powerful.
There's an interesting thing here. When I teach that to some groups, they say, well, we are B2B, business to business.
Oh, gotcha. Right.
Silly statement. There is a human being in your company who talks to a human being in the other company, and the opinion about the other company, about your company, is because of that human being. Simple. So there's still this same thing is taking place. Here, contact and making the guests feel important, making the guests feel care, making the guests feel as if we really want to help them with our product and not just push it on them.
Well, Horst, this has been absolutely fantastic. And again, if you did not listen to hear last month's conversation with Horst Schulze, please go back and listen. Before we wrap up, though, Horst, you shared something with me offline a little bit ago that relates to orientation and the importance of the first day on the job and what happens and what is happening for a person emotionally and why it creates somewhat of a different kind of teachable moment. Would you talk about that for just a few minutes as we wrap this up?
Sure.
That was powerful.
Sure. It's the last session that we had. We talked about what creates a great employee, and I said it's selection, orientation, training, and sustaining. And back to the orientation. The orientation it's so powerful and so important. Yet we treat the employee as if they were a machine that comes in. We have to understand something here. Much of what the employee does, being in time, doing the job, caring for the job, is a behavior, and yet behavior cannot be taught. By the time you're 16, the behavior is set in you, and that is going to be the behavior in your life. You learn new things, obviously, but the behavior basically is set. You can't be taught unless there is a significant emotional event taking place in your life. That's the moment when you adopt new behaviors. And guess what? The first day on the job is a significant emotional event. And that's why the first day you don't teach function. You teach the behavioral element and the connection elements to your organization and the belief. And that's the moment you can make them part of your organization. That's the moment you say, you're important, you're part, here's what we do, and here's why. Because they will adapt on the behavior around that. And to waste that time, in fact, look at the new employees. The first day they come 20 minutes early. The second, 10 minutes. The third, 5 minutes. And the fourth day, they're 5 minutes late. The significant emotional event is over.
Right. No, that's so powerful. And you're right, because my tendency is, when I think about orientation, is not to begin with, here, this is how we do it here, these are the behaviors we want you to do. We begin with mission and vision. We're kind of out there in the intangible world. And by day 3, when they're showing up right on time, we've missed that emotional moment. But to begin with,
that's right.
To that disequilibrium of being in a new environment with new people, I'm a little bit off, I'm off balance a little bit, to go right to the heart of these are the behaviors we want you to embrace. We want you to learn new behaviors. What a powerful, powerful idea. And again, I think that's why 23 years ago, sitting and watching you do that very thing and thinking to myself, why is he beginning here? I mean, of all the things you could have talked about in orienting this group of people, maids, butlers, bellmen, to the hotel, why did he begin here? We are ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen. We are not servants. We are ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen. Again, it was an emotional time for me, and I wasn't even looking for a job.
But finally, Andy, I mean, if we as leaders don't love the human beings that come in there, I mean, wait a minute. There's also a spiritual aspect to that. I want to pretend that I'm a pastor here or anything like that. But goodness, love your neighbor. I mean, for me, that's always is an overwhelming thing. Asking Jesus, what is the greatest command? Love God, and love your neighbor as yourself. Wow. I mean, that's somebody I want to follow. And wait a minute, who's your neighbor? Your close neighbor, my opinion, is my wife. And then, aren't your employees your neighbors? Wouldn't you love these human beings? And if some of them, people tell me they're not worth it, well, that will sort of that. But you have no right to make that judgment. That will show itself. But love your neighbor as yourself. Put that into the equation, for heaven's sake. That has to be in the equation. It means even if those that don't believe have to understand what a powerful, beautiful thing to say, love your neighbor as yourself.
And to love our neighbor as ourselves is to at least give them the same amount of dignity that we give ourselves.
Them dignity.
And that is...
respect them.
That is what you do so well and did so well, and it really did mark me as a leader, and I can't
Thank
thank
you.
you enough, and a lot of other people as well. So thanks for being with us these 2 months on the podcast, and to all our listeners, we want to thank you for joining us as well. I know that you loved this just like I did, and you kind of hate to see it come to an end. As always, please visit our website where you can find our leadership podcast